db.foo.found where author.age is 29. So now let's see what are the commands that Mongo provides for a collection. Collection is basically a table in case of a relational database. So you can see db.collection drop. So this is basically for dropping a table or a collection. And suppose you have an index on a collection. So basically this is how you can drop an index. If you want to drop all the indexes, then basically you can do drop indexes. This is the way by which basically we create an index. So this is the attribute on which I want to make a index. So this is 1 and ts is equal to -1. This means reverse indexing. So basically search will be done on a reverse basis. And these are the options that I provide while executing a query, which is background is equal to true. Like the indexing will be done in the background, like as a daemon thread. So the advantage of this is while making indexes, no lock will be taken on this particular collection. This is not possible in case of another relational database. If I basically create index on any other relational database, what it will do, it will take a lock on the database, and if in the meanwhile if there are some insert, delete or update queries getting fired on the database, those queries won't be executed. So by providing a background is equal to true, you can basically make sure that it don't take a lock and it runs on a as a daemon thread. So this is how we basically get to know what all indexes are present in a collection. If I want to rename a collection, then I can use a rename collection command. If I want to drop a collection, then I can drop a collection. If I want to see what is the size allocated to a collection, then I can do that. So these are basically some commands which are basically collection specific or are specific to a table. So here we can see like the Mongo understands the language of JSON. So here we can see all the things, like all the queries. Basically, if I talk about the insert queries, then this is a JSON. This is basically a key value pair. So this is the key, this is the value, and the value can itself again be a JSON. So this is a map which can, this is a map in which the value of an entry can itself be a map. Here you can see the value of author is name Vipin. So name and Vipin, this is again part of another map. So this is basically map of map. So here we see some commands which are that we generally run on a relational database, and this is the command that we usually run on a Mongo database. So if I want to basically create a table, then I use create tables user, where A is a number and B is a number, and here I just create db.create collection users. So here the biggest difference that you can see is that relational databases are very schema bounded. So while creating a table which is user, you have to specify what all attributes will be there. So here you can see that A is one attribute and B is another attribute. So if I want to basically add another attribute, then I have to make a alter to the table, and then finally another attribute can be inserted. But this is not the case with Mongo, as I already told you that this is a n cross m collection. So here we just need to fire command db.create collections users, so that the collection is created and JSON objects can be inserted to these users table. So now I see if I want to insert some specific values, insert into users values 3, 5. So here I can do db.users.insert a3b5. So here you can see in my initial command I have only created users, but I have not specified what all attributes will be there. And in the second command I am inserting a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 5. So basically now you can see here, okay, so the user is basically now containing 2 attributes where a is 3 and b is 5. So if I basically want to again fire a query which basically says db.users.insert a colon 3, b colon 5, c colon 7, then there would be a second entry where it will contain 3 attributes. So here each row can have different number of columns. So that's why this is called a n cross m collection, where first row can have 4 attributes, second row can 10 attributes, third row can have 15 attributes. So this is not schema bound. So there is no explicit boundation on any schema. So after that, suppose I want to fire a select query, select a comma b from user. Similarly, I can do a query on find from the users where a is where find a and b from users. If I want to basically add some condition, then I can do db.users.find age where age is 33. So these are the queries. So suppose if I want to find some columns based on some condition, then I can do them. I can basically fire like queries. I can basically fire range queries. I can basically fire queries which returns me a result which is sorted on some order. So here we see name is -1. So this is descending order. So I already told you that Mongo has a full indexing support. So you can have composite indexes, you can have reverse indexes, you can have indexes on a single column as well. So suppose I want to find a count, so I can do db.users.count. If I want to do update, then I can do that. So now let's see. So till now we have seen what exactly is Mongo, where Mongo database should be used. It should be used for reporting applications or applications where we use notification modules, or any application which has a huge data flow where we want queries, CRUD queries, which should be executed very fast, like we can say insert, delete, update, select. Okay, so now let's see the integration of Mongo with Java. So here I will show you some code snippet of a web application which is basically built in Spring MVC. So like Spring provides a interface, which is basically Hibernate DAO support to integrate with to use Hibernate as a plugin and to integrate it with another databases. So similarly, Spring also provides a module to integrate with Mongo, which is Spring Data MongoDB.jar. This is the jar which provides standard classes to integrate with Mongo. This is after that we have Mongo 2.6.6.jar, which basically contains the drivers which have the logic to insert the data into Mongo database. So I will show you my project hierarchy. So this is the source folder where I have all the source code. This is the web content folder, and here I have application context.xml. This is the Mongo config. Application context, Mongo config. Mongo config is the file where I basically configure Mongo. Where this is my servlet. So let's see how exactly Mongo config look like. Mongo config. So in my Mongo config, basically I make a bean in which I specify in which server my Mongo DB is running. So you can see, so when I executed a sh which is basically this script. So after running this script, Mongo daemon has started. So MongoDB server is up and the port on which it runs is 27017. So similarly in Mongo config, I specify on which server it is running, the IP of that server, and on which port it is running. So this is basically defining where my Mongo is running. After that, I can define templates. So this is basically some custom code which is provided by Spring. So here it says in the constructor it takes a ref, it takes Mongo as an argument. So So basically Mongo template takes, okay, where my server is deployed, and the second argument, which is master, so it says, okay, what database to connect. So it knows which database to connect and it knows where to connect. So similarly, I can define many other templates in which I can define where my server is running and which database to connect. So there can be n number of beans in which I can define where my server is running and on to which database it should be connected. So here you can see, unlike any other Java application where we are strictly bounded to one database, here you can connect to any number of databases you want to. You just need to create templates. So let's see. So this is the configuration of Mongo. So in which basically we define where my server is running and what all templates, what all templates are there to connect to whichever databases. So now let's see my configuration of the servlet. So here I have a DAO in which in the constructor of that DAO I basically define which template to use. So now I know my DAO is basically connected to which server and which database. The second thing is com.tj.naf.domain.notification. So this is the model object which the DAO is inserting to the database. So this is the object which is getting inserted into the database. So the first argument is to which database and which server I am inserting the data. The second argument is what it is the model which I am inserting in my database. And the second argument is, okay, I know which database I am going to insert my data. And the third argument tells me the collection or the name of the table in which I am going to insert my data. So like you can see, here I do show DB. So this is master is my one of the DB, and in master I see process is one of my collection. So similarly here I know which collection to use, and Mongo templates define which database to use, and what is the first and the second argument is which model to use. Now let's see the application context. So application context, I just defined use this configuration file for the configuration of Mongo. Now let's see the web.xml. This is the standard web.xml in which basically I am loading the application context, in which I am defining, okay, from where I am going to pick my Mongo configuration, and in my servlet I am just defining all my DAOs. So here we see the notification model. So what exactly is my notification model? So notification model, so the first attribute of the notification model, this is underscore ID. It represents the ID which is generated by the Mongo database when we insert any model or any document. Like here, when we do a insert db.foo.insert, so then that entry is inserted with a ID. So this is the primary key that is being generated. So now FO and PN, these are my two another attributes. So now let's see the controller layer. So I have a login controller which basically takes a HTTP request. From the HTTP request, I basically get my data. So I get my name of the process, I get the name of the folder, then I basically populate my notification model. And once my notification object is populated, then I can say my notification DAO to save the notification. So what exactly is notification DAO? So here I am passing an object to the notification DAO. So here notification DAO. So I am passing the notification object. So here you can say com.tj.naf domain notification. So it is the type which is handled by notification DAO. Now let's see Mongo DAO support. So this is a very important class. This class is basically provided by Spring. So Mongo DAO support basically uses Mongo template class by Spring to perform basic data operations to DB. So Mongo, you can see the code for the Mongo DAO support is templatized. So as you can see the constructor of this, so it takes a Mongo template. It takes like, okay, what kind of model it is going to insert and in which collection it is going to insert the data. And it basically provide all the basic operation. Okay, create a collection. So basically while creating collection, it is basically using Mongo template, and in the Mongo template we have already defined which database to use. So basically it will create this collection in that particular database. If I want to drop collection, then I can use that. If I want to ensure some index, if I want to save some object, if I want to find some object. So there are many features of this class. So here we see notification DAO. So as we have shown you notification DAO. So the constructor of the notification DAO takes Mongo template, model and the collection. So here the notification DAO is basically extending Mongo DAO support, which is taking notification as a model. So notification, the constructor of the notification DAO IMPL, it takes the Mongo template, it takes which class I am going to insert, what is the collection in which I am going to insert. So it basically creates object of the Mongo DAO support, and once object of the Mongo DAO support is created, then if I call save notification, then it basically takes Mongo DAO support dot insert name of the collection, which is basically passed here, and the object that I am going to insert. So what Mongo DAO support do? It basically save the object. So here it is basically calling Mongo template, and Mongo template is a class by Spring. So what Mongo template do? Basically now Mongo understands the language of JSON. So it don't understand what is a Java object or what is a C object. It only understands JSON. So JSON is quite a standard format in which the value, basically it is key value pair. So now Mongo converter use reflections, Java reflections, to convert that Java object into a JSON object. So by using reflection, it basically takes out all the list of the attributes, and it takes out all the values of the attributes, and then basically creates a JSON object. And once the JSON object is created, then it is inserted into the Mongo database using drivers provided by Mongo, that you can see here. So here basically we are inserting a JSON document. So this JSON document is created by Mongo template, and that is communicated to Mongo jar, which contains the driver to connect to MongoDB. So this is how data is getting inserted into Mongo database. Now let's see how we basically fetch data from the database. So similarly, in my notification, I can write a method which is basically getting notification. Okay, so get notification. So here I have an argument called string folder. So basically here I make a query is equal to new query. This query class is also provided by Spring. So in this query I can basically add a condition where folder is ABCD, and then basically I fire that query. So Mongo template internally converts this query object into a JSON query and fire that query to Mongo database. So the results are also returned in format of JSON. So what Spring provides as an advantage is it basically converts. So here you can see in the find query, I am specifying from which collection I have to fire the query, what is the query, and what kind of objects I am expecting. So it is basically executing that query. It is getting the results in JSON format, and that JSON is basically mapped to notification.class. So while inserting a Java object, it basically converts that Java object into a JSON, and while fetching the data, it converts the JSON to a Java object. So that automatically mapping conversion is done by Spring. So if you don't want to use Spring uh, uh, functionality, then you have to implement Java reflections. So in this session we have seen what exactly is Mongo database, what are the advantages of Mongo database over any other relational database, what is the comparison of Mongo database with any other relational database, what all commands do we execute on Mongo database. So we have seen Mongo database commands, Mongo collection commands. We have seen how to integrate Mongo with Java. We have seen how to do basic CRUD operations, and we have seen basically inserting a document, fetching a document. So so that is all regarding MongoDB.